Walking down Bloor Street, I make the right on Young. This old town, and I've gone round for round, but this is where I'm from. I can feel the wind.
I'm not sure. I think that may be the only song, every nice song ever written about Toronto. So it's wonderful to hear it. That song, for those of you who don't know, by the way, that is Kiefer Sutherland singing Bloor Street, as in Bloor Street in Toronto. Welcoming him to our studio right now. Thank you so much for coming in. It's great to meet you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be here.
You remember writing this? I mean, how long ago is that?
I do remember it. In fact, one of my friends who's in your lobby, she and I were working on a television show called Designated Survivor.
Sure.
And we had hit Bay and Bloor, and we had caught the light, and we were coming out from behind the building, and the wind just comes racing up Bay Street and literally just froze us to the core. And I said, that's the thing I was telling you about my whole life. This is where I grew up, and that wind off of the Lake Ontario. And I wrote, the wind coming up the street chills you straight through to the bone. And I just went home and wrote the rest of it in my apartment that night. Yeah. Yeah.
Just on the germ of an idea, and there you go with the song.
It was very cold. And it reminded me of my childhood, and I have such fond memories of Toronto as a young kid growing up. And mainly just watching my kids grow up elsewhere. There was something about that time. You know, you were kind of kicked out of your house by 8:30, 9 o'clock, and you were expected to come home at 6:30 for dinner. But what you did in between was kind of up to you. And so at 11, I was riding the subway all the way into downtown, and the whole world kind of opened up. And I was incredibly lucky to have grown up in a time when that was allowed, right? My kids, if they wanted to go see a friend 3 blocks away, they got driven. So it was just a different time, and I very nostalgic about it. And then I wrote that song.
I love that. I will point, as you tell this story, I think to myself, did you not go to school? What do you mean? What are you doing outside all day of coming, riding the subway?
I was meaning like through the summer and stuff like that. Yes, I did go to school. I went to a lot of schools.
You talk about Toronto as being home when you were little, but you've lived, in Canada until what, like the mid 80s, and then became a resident in LA?
I left Canada. No, I went to New York first. I would go to New York and kind of test the waters there, and then when I kind of would run out of money, I'd come back to Canada, and I'd do a play or I'd do something, and then I'd go back, and then very sadly, a bunch of friends of mine were at Circle in the Square, which is a theater school in New York City, and one of them was killed. And I remember at that point just thinking, well, I'm not up for that. And I left New York City, and I went to Los Angeles to try that out. And then things worked out really quickly there. And I was really lucky, because if I had gone, 2 months later, I might not have had the career that I had, because I got films like Stand By Me and Lost Boys all in a very short period of time, and they were all very successful. And it just completely changed the trajectory of my career and my life.
Yeah. So I asked ChatGPT, I mentioned this to you when we first sat down, said, I have Kiefer Sutherland coming in today. Could you write an introduction for Kiefer Sutherland? So you know what Chat wrote?
I would love to hear it.
It knows that I do a radio show. So it wrote, our guest today is one of the most recognizable and versatile actors of his generation. From his breakout role as the menacing Ace Merrill in Stand By Me, to cult classics like The Lost Boys, to commanding the screen for nearly a decade as Jack Bauer in 24, Kiefer Sutherland has built a career spanning more than 40 years. He's a Golden Globe and Emmy Award winner, a star of film, television, and even the music stage. And he's here with us today to talk about his latest work. Kiefer Sutherland, welcome. That's pretty good, isn't it?
Everybody's talking bad about AI. I've got no problem with
that. What a great introduction. I will tell you something else, and I know we're filming this for people watching. I just saw that line that said that you've been doing this for more than 40 years.
Yeah.
You don't age.
Well, that's very generous.
No, seriously, you look incredible.
Well, thank you very much.
How old are you?
I am 58. Yeah, almost 59.
What are you eating?
So, not much.
Oh, maybe that's how it works. Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, you do. And I know the reason you're here today, and this is something, it's funny, because when I found that you've introduced a whiskey brand or co-founded this whiskey brand, I thought, okay, wait. And I looked up the list
Uh-huh.
of celebrities
Right.
who have gone into this business.
Yeah.
It's staggering.
I bet.
Ryan Reynolds, Aviation Gin, George Clooney, Casamigos Tequila, Snoop Dogg, Indigo Gin, Pitbull, Espanita Tequila, and on and on and
Yeah.
on. They're mainly tequila brands.
Right.
But you have Beyonce has her own whiskey brand, apparently. Did you know
Okay.
that?
I did not.
Yeah?
No.
Jay-Z has a cognac brand, and Dan Aykroyd, Canadian,
Tequila.
Crystal Head Vodka.
Oh, vodka. That's right. Yeah, yeah.
So,
And he did tequila for a while because I know that he was unhappy with tequila, that the lack of tequila in Ontario. And
Really?
so he made his own. Yeah.
the lack of tequila in Ontario. I've
Yeah.
never really heard that as an issue before.
I hadn't really either.
So let's talk about this. This is a brand. You call it Red Bark.
Red Bank.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. Red Bank and Red Bank. So it's made in Nova Scotia, and just outside of Halifax, there is a Red Bank and a Green Bank, and they've been used as nautical sight points for shipping into Halifax for hundreds and hundreds of
Okay.
years. And the property where we have built the kind of the home distillery is on that Red Bank, and so that became the name. The idea was funny. It was not like I woke up in the morning and said, "Oh my gosh, I've got to make a whiskey today." It was much more organic. There's a really successful businessman and friend named Rob Steele out of Nova Scotia, and he really wanted to make a product. And his first instinct with another friend of mine, Gary Briggs, was to do a tequila. And they phoned me up and asked me if I would be interested. And I said, not really. I don't drink it. But the thing I would be interested is if we created kind of something that was really Canadian, that I would be interested in, and something that we could kind of go around the world and present as a premier product and kind of sell Canada as an idea. That I would be really interested in. And there's one of those conversations that you don't expect anything to come of. But Rob Steele kind of really, as a Canadian, gravitated to that. And he put together Sean Hiscott, who's in the beverage business, and those are the four partners. And we put it together. And then...
How long ago are we talking between the idea?
This is about 5-6 years ago.
Oh,
maybe
okay.
maybe even 7. And then it took us about a year to produce the liquid, and then COVID hit, and so trying to get glass and all of those kinds of things became issues. But it's been out in Canada for over 2 years, but it's been a province at a time, because each province has its own legislation, has its own schedule, has its own criteria, and so some are faster than others. Alberta was very quick. Sure, you got whiskey, we'll sell it, and other provinces were slower. And so today is our unification day, where we've got all 10 provinces together.
Good for you.
And
I checked. I know you can buy it here at the SAQ. Because I looked at it's on the site.
It just started, and so we're thrilled. As we were talking earlier before the interview, Quebec certainly has always felt like a home to me, because my dad and his wife Francine, of 50 years, they lived in the Southern Townships, and this is where me and my sister would come visit them and my brothers every summer and at Christmases. And I've always felt a kind of real support, either when I've just been here visiting family or when I've been working here. And so for me, on a personal level, it's really nice to be able to bring this whiskey here.
So I want to talk a little bit. We've only talked about this for a second. You have some time. You said you're okay to stick around for a few more minutes. So we're going to take a little break. We'll come back. By the way, when you get into making your own whiskey, had you been a whiskey drinker up until then, that you could sit and say, I like this one, I don't like that?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What's really funny is I learned a lot, and it takes probably longer to explain than you need to take a break, but I can talk to you about it on the way back.
Let's do that. Let's go to traffic first, take a break, and we'll continue. Kiefer Sutherland is our in-studio guest. We'll continue, and yes, we will talk about movies. And to the person who sent in a text saying, please ask Kiefer what it was like playing the president in Designated Survivor. I will. Okay, I promise. Welcome back, 321. Kiefer Sutherland is our in-studio guest today. We're talking about a couple of different things, including the reason you're in Montreal, actually, which is to, I guess, launch this brand in Quebec, right?
Yes, yeah.
So I'm going to hold it up on the radio, because that's always a good thing. It's called Red Bank. It is premium blended Canadian whiskey.
Yeah.
And I checked before he came in the reviews, because as I said today, there are reviews for everything these days.
Yes, yeah.
Reviews on this are really, really good.
They are.
So that obviously must, make you happy.
It does. It won a gold medal in San Francisco at the World Whiskey Convention. It's being recognized as something that is unique and special. So we were talking earlier about things that, you have a palate and you drink a drink and
Right.
you like it, but you don't really know why. And for me, why I thought Canadian whiskey would be interesting is because I couldn't understand why all the Canadian whiskeys that I'd ever tried kind of lent themselves towards American bourbons and Kentucky bourbons. And that's because to be a Canadian whiskey, you have to have a wheat profile and you have to have a rye profile. And they have to live within certain numbers.
Really?
Yeah. And so we took the rye profile and put it as low as we could. And we took the wheat profile and we raised it. And so that sends us much stronger back in a direction of a Scottish whiskey. And that made sense to me because where we make it is called, Nova Scotia, which is New Scotland. And I thought it would be great to have a Canadian whiskey that actually kind of lent back to the old country, as you would.
Wow.
And so it worked. And we the partners and our whiskey guy, Michel, we had a taste testing of 10 different blends that he had come up with. And out of 8 of us, 7 of us all picked one, and one person picked another, and that was the accountant, and he's never been allowed to taste the whiskey since.
Wow.
And
that's a good rule anyway.
yeah,
I'm just saying, but
and so this is what we've come up with, and
for you.
we're just so glad that people kind of around the world so far, because it's in Europe as well,
that's great.
are enjoying it. And
What's it like sells for what, $45, $50 a bottle roughly?
depend where you get it, yeah,
Okay.
but it's over 45.
And you're probably one of the people who's very excited at the fact that we're still not putting American liquor back on provincial shelves, even though the retaliatory tariffs are off.
Well, I would be more excited if all the nonsense stopped,
Yeah.
and we could all go back to being friends. But if someone's going to poke you in the eye,
Fair enough.
you're going to react. It's I have a home in Canada and I have a home in the United States. I've lived off and on in the United States for almost I could say 50 years. I've never met a single American person that didn't have anything but wonderful things to say about Canada. So clearly this is political. This is being staged on some level to create an animosity out of nothing. And so for me, I look forward to the day when this is just rectified and fixed and made right. And until then, I'm going to support, I think it's amazing. My sister keeps sending me pictures of, the drugstores and the food stores and just like all of the Lay's chips. Just if you wanted to buy 1,000 bags, I'm sure they'd give them to you.
Yeah.
And then, obviously all of the Canadian products are being bought and used. And so I think, as a Canadian, I'm really proud that was the reaction. I'm really proud that Canada has stood up for itself and Canadians are doing the same.
Are you involved politically at all? Are you on social media at all?
No. I mean, every once in a while I'll post I like to cook, so I'll post a recipe.
Oh, okay.
And I've posted like 3 or 4 recipes, and they're kind of based. I start off by saying, if you can cook, you don't need to watch this. But if you can't, and if you don't, I can help you cook a really good steak. And
Is this what's next for you? This kind of where your career's going to head off?
I sure hope not. I mean, if you see me on a cooking show, some things have gone really
Something's gone
wrong. Yeah.
Look, I don't want to run out of time, and I do appreciate you sticking around. Let me get to a couple of things. People obviously know you from the movies, which I read
course.
off the top. There is something that someone actually texted in as well and said 24, which many people consider one of the favorite shows ever on TV. You were so great as Jack Bauer in that show. Did I read, and I know there was a movie made, and I know there's been talk of bringing this back. Where does that stand right now?
It stands. Howard Gordon has come up with an idea that I like, and so before it was just the material had not been written, so I would have to say I'm not the one that's in the way. Something has been written. I think it's really good. I think it's really strong, and it's in the process of trying kind of 24 was originally with Fox. Now it's owned by Disney because of what Fox has sold off. And so it has to go through different channels before it's either approved or disapproved. So I'm like everybody else, it's something I would really like to do. I would like to close that story. It was left kind of wide open, so fingers
so you're
crossed.
Saying there's a chance.
We've taken some considerable steps forward.
Okay. I promised I'd send this text, or I'd read that text.
Yeah.
I read it to you.
Yeah.
You played the President of the United States
Yeah.
and designated survivor. What was that like?
Well, in the context of the script, there was a caveat, which was fantastic, which was, all of the people in line of succession for the presidency were killed in this tragic event at the Capitol. And my character, who is sequestered from a full-on meeting of Congress, is sequestered in order of a terrible attack that they would then fill in and become president. So I played a character that was completely unprepared to be president. So I was not elected in the context of our show. I did not go through a campaign. I did not. The country is not aware of my ideology, and so it puts that character in a very pragmatic kind of position to just what makes sense. Because he has no political responsibilities to the country because of what he promised during a campaign, right, he can approach all of these issues with what makes sense. What would be the fair thing to do? What would be the right thing to do?
What a change that would be, huh?
Well, it creates a huge change, and very quickly he realizes that it's not as simple as that, and there are complications, and the show is kind of very informative of what those complications can be. But I loved playing a character that I think was a morally good person in a really complicated and sometimes morally corrupt world. And that was a real challenge.
So in your career, I'm going to run out of time in a minute. You've played antagonists. That's kind of what you became famous for, which is great because you did an amazing job at it. You have a comedy coming out in another month or two, right? In November?
Yes, I do.
Opposite Rebel Wilson. What's that?
Yeah, it's a film called Tinseltown, and it's very funny. It's about an actor whose career is on the downward slide, basically because he's an idiot and he's not a very nice guy, and a series of circumstances land him in England doing a play which he thinks is going to be in the West End of London, and it's not. And his life just gets worse and worse and worse until he starts to become a better human being. And then his life starts to become a little more manageable. But it's funny, and it's beautifully written. The British, I think, do an incredible job with telling those kinds of small British stories. And I've wanted to do one for a long time. And so I was thrilled to be asked. I don't think anyone I know or work with thought I would ever do it. But it was one of the most enjoyable things I've gotten to do.
It's not fair to ask if you prefer comedy to drama, having done just a comedy.
Yeah.
But you want to do more of these?
If something's as well written as what I got to do, yeah. I mean, it was very nice not having to kill anybody in the first act and chop someone's head off and put it in a duffel bag. Yeah. This was, I got to keep my clothes clean the whole way through.
Listen, we could do this for another hour. First of all, I really appreciate your time. You are
thank you.
You are very easy to talk to.
Well, thank you.
And I do appreciate you coming in. For everybody else, we don't promote liquor on the show. Do I get to keep
this? Is yours, my friend?
Or are you taking this from interview to interview?
No,
today?
that is yours,
okay.
my friend.
That's awfully nice of you. Kiefer, thank you so much. Wish you nothing but the best. And please, next time you're in Montreal, make it a point and come back.
I would love that.
Appreciate it a
and
lot.
I mean it. Thank you very much.